Let's see. There we go. Well, good morning, Auburn, Pine Hills Academy. So nice to be with you this morning. And I am happy to be sharing some of the resources that you will have available to you from the PUC Library. And you might want, like your teacher said, you might want to jot down the names of some of these resources. I'm going to throw out a bunch of them to you, and some of them you might want to remember. Let me share my screen here, and we'll get started. And I'm going to move this little bar over out of my way, and this guy out of my way. All right. So most of us are pretty familiar and comfortable with Google. You guys have never known what it's like to not have Google around. It was pretty exciting when they came out and made life a lot more fun. But we're going to talk about resources that Google might have available to show you, but they don't give you everything. All right, I'm going to step through a couple of things here. So, for example, this is kind of our metaphor that we use for a lot of different things, but what Google will give you is just the tip of the iceberg here. There are a lot of things that Google will show you. They may come up in your results, but when you click on it, you can't get it because it costs money to get those resources. We call that the paywall. And unless you're a subscriber, then you can't get access to it. It's like, for example, the San Francisco Chronicle, a lot of us like to read online, but only a very few of those articles are free available. If you want to see the articles that maybe you need, you have to be a subscriber. So that's what the library at PUC is providing for you. Here's our library page. And you're going to see right up front here a big search box. So this is kind of like our Google search box. It searches quite a number of our databases, and a database is just a word for collections. It's kind of a library term. Although a computer scientist thinks of it a little bit differently, and I come from an IT background. I was a computer science major here at PUC a few years back, and I had to learn when I became a librarian what that meant to the library world. So you have various collections of articles or books or other resources, even videos and ebooks. And so they just call those all databases. If you click on the databases link here on the left side, you can see a quick view of the many, many databases that we have available. But we do have this global search box here that makes life a lot easier. So you can start off by throwing in your search terms here, and you want to be pretty simple at first. You basically want to start with just a few words, sometimes even one word, and kind of the nugget of what your topic is about, and then slowly increase your terms as you go to kind of narrow down your results. For example, if you want to talk about nuclear fusion, let's just throw that in there. And we've been talking about nuclear fusion for decades, actually. one of my first research papers when I was in academy was on nuclear fusion. If you're general enough about your key word there at the top, you're going to get what they call a research starter right at the top, which is a good reference article about your topic. And that can give you a good background on the topic. And then it continues on from there. You can see that we've got over a million and a half results, which is way too many to look through. So maybe you want to look at something a little bit more specific about fusion. And when you start typing up here, pay attention to these pop-up suggestions because they can be very helpful. So maybe we're worried about the safety of fusion. So that cut it way down. So now we're around 6,000 in our results. So now you can continue to add terms. Maybe you want to see something a little more specific. See what California's doing. So now we're down to 131. Now we're down to a few enough results that you can start to kind of browse through them to see if any of them make sense to you and look useful. It'll identify the type of source, and you can see at the top here, this says peer-reviewed academic journal. And those are going to be the best sources. So peer-reviewed, let's talk about that for just a second. And maybe you've talked about this a little bit in class too. So there are different types of resources. Some of them are considered scholarly resources, and some of them are more consumer level type resources. So, and some are kind of hard to tell in between, like a journal like Scientific American is a very good journal. However, it's not peer reviewed, so not considered a scholarly source. Peer
Patrick,
reviewed means
I have not talked with them about peer reviewed yet. That's on my list of things to talk about. So, but go ahead, and if you even want to just explain briefly what it means to be peer reviewed, that's
sure.
on my list for things next week, but they can get a head start on understanding that.
Okay. Yeah. And so a journal like Scientific American may have some scientists contributing to the articles, but a lot of them are actually journalists that maybe specialize in science topics. They're not doing actual research, and they're not writing original reports. They're often compiling information from other researchers and putting them together. On the other hand, a peer-reviewed journal, when a researcher submits an article to a scholarly journal, that journal, then the editor of that journal will then send that article around to other researchers who are also experts in that same field. And they get feedback from those other experts in the field, and they may say, well, this is good, but he needs to tighten up his statistics a little bit more, or he needs to clarify what procedures were used to eliminate the variability in error of his results. And so they'll give feedback like that to the editor. Editor collects all these and sends them back to the original author and said, okay, keep working on this. And that cycle may happen several times. And I know one of my professors, my physics professor, took him about 3 years to get published in a scholarly journal. before it was finally accepted. Now, when it's accepted, it's not going to just show up automatically the next month. They may still take 6 months to actually put it in the journal. So when you get accepted and published, it's considered to be quite a feat. And so that means what you have said has been looked at by a lot of people in the field and approved, and they think it's worth people seeing and reading about. So sometimes you'll see it called scholarly articles, or peer-reviewed articles means the same thing. So these are identified here. And as you scroll down, you'll see other things. This is an encyclopedia article, a reference article. Sometimes you'll see news articles. You'll see working papers that have not been maybe reviewed yet in a peer-reviewed journal, and so on. Sometimes you'll see ebooks listed in the results.
Our question for you, are all of these that we're seeing on this on your PUC page, are all of these accessible to these students, or it will be a combination?
I would say most of them are accessible. And so if you click on the access options, they will say online full text. This one says access now. And this one says, so this is going to take you to an archive website to access that article. It's an open source website. And some of them will say full text finder, which means it may take you a few clicks before it actually brings you to the location. Let's try it. Let's just see where it goes. It kind of goes through several linking processes. So this one is going to take you to the actual publisher website. And let's see if it gives us the article. So it's not 100%. Okay, this is a good example, actually, because it's taking us to a database called Science Direct, which is a really, really good database. Everything in it is considered scholarly, high academic resources. But you have to request the document from the library, because they do charge us for each article. This isn't a subscription database that we are members of. So, but go ahead and make the request. And then what we do is we get an automatic ping to the librarians that says somebody's requested this article, and then we'll download it and we'll send it right to you. So this is a good example. I'm glad this one came up, because Science Direct does have a lot of good content. So there are different ways of, there we go, of accessing. And it's not perfect. They do a pretty good job most of the time. So if you click online full text, that should come right up. There it is. And sometimes I'm not seeing a lot of PDFs, but you'll see sometimes they'll say, in addition to online full text, which is a web page, it'll say PDF available. Now, if you see one that you definitely want and you're struggling to get a hold of that article, I would encourage you to please let me know on our web page here, how to contact the library. You can use the little live chat button, and anytime any of us is online, it'll come up here, and it's popping up over here. I don't know if you can see that, if that's part of the screen share or not. But it comes up with a little dialog box for you to put your email address and your name and your question, and then you click submit, and it starts making my laptop bing, and the circulation desk will start beeping, and so somebody will answer if any of us are online. If nobody is online at the moment, it's because we're closed, then it'll say it'll change from live chat to offline, I think it says. But you can still leave a message, leave a question there through that system. Or you can email us, or you can even text us, and that goes through the same ticketing system, and we all get notified that somebody's asking a question. So if you have trouble finding an article, we're very happy to help you get a hold of that article, because sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to kind of pin down how to get it. So some will be fairly easy, but some are a little tricky. So don't hesitate to get a hold of us. All right. Some of these buttons up here at the top are very helpful. And if you want to see only peer-reviewed articles, you can narrow it down to that. And that will weed out the ones that don't have this nice little orange dot. And I'm going to go back to where we have a few more. So we got about 5,900 here. You can also say, what's only relevant in the past year? And that'll cut down your results as well. We do have more filters. If you want to see all the filters, the button is here on the left side, and they all pop up here on the right. You can say, if you want to narrow down by geography, sometimes people like to do that. So we just want to say, Greece, China, continental Europe, and not sure why the US isn't listed here. But that's one way you can narrow down your results. And you can say subject. Sometimes that is helpful. And so that'll cut it down too. All right, here's another little quick tip. And I'm just going to use a funny one here. We're just going to search for strange new worlds. Oh, I'm going to take off all these things. Actually, let's just start over with, let's see, all time here. There we go. Okay, so Strange New Worlds is coming up here, but it does a pretty good job of first searching for the phrase, but it's actually searching for anything with these words, and they can all be spread out anywhere. Let's see what happens when we put it in quotation. So we've got 24,700, and this is just to show you an example of the effect of the quotation. So from 12,000, now we're limiting to this exact phrase only. That cut it way down to 1,100. So that can be very helpful to narrow down what you're interested in. And I'm probably really interested in Star Trek, so you can add something else to it. And now we're getting more interested in what we want. And actually, look at that. There's one peer-reviewed article about Star Trek. I didn't expect that to happen. But you never know what people want to study. If we limit just to peer-reviewed, that's probably the only one. Oh, three. Okay, we got three. Very nice. All right, now if we need to cite one of these, you can look over here on the right. There's these little three dots. That's everybody's favorite indicator for a menu these days. And the little quote marks are the cite. And you can pick, let's see, we're English department usually does MLA, right?
Correct.
So there we go. And there's your citation. Now it's even indented it for you nicely. However, I've found that usually goes away after you paste it. So your teacher will go over whatever the requirements are for the format of your citations. But the content is created there for you, which is really nice. That didn't happen that way when I was in college. All right. You can also get to it if you go into the article information. You can see the quote marks here at the top. That's the same way to get to the citation. All right. So any questions about this Discover? There's a lot to it. This is just kind of the introduction to the Discover search engine, but it comes in very handy.
Any questions? I have a question, and I don't know if you're going to get into it as they're starting, because they are in the very, very, very infancy stages of figuring out. They've been brainstorming what kind of a question they are asking, and their assignment this weekend is going to be to actually use this search engine, go in and start seeing, are there sources that they feel would be able to answer the questions that they have posed, or do they need to revise their questions?
Right.
My question to you is there a way to keep track of their research so they don't see us a article and then they don't really think they want it, and then 2 hours later they go, actually that was a really good article, but where did I find it? Is there a way to organize using the library system to organize your research where you place it?
You can create a little personal account in EBSCO, and if you click on that, you can sign in. It'll walk you through creating your own account. So it's not a PUC account. It's a specific account for using with EBSCO, and then you can highlight articles, and there's little save buttons. You can just click on these ones and just say save. And of course, I'm not logged in, so although I guess it saved them. Maybe I am logged in.
So I have a question on that, because EBSCO is something that, let's say they choose next year to go to a different college, not PUC. Will EBSCO go with them? Whatever they sign in with EBSCO, will they forever be linked to that account with EBSCO, or is it going to be different? Is this linked to the PUC site enough that, well, you'd have to create a new?
No, this is nothing to do with PUC. So yeah, your personal account with EBSCO is yours. You can log into it. Now, getting into specific databases, every school subscribes to different databases, but if you have your own EBSCO personal account, yeah, you can still get into your account, no matter what college you're in. Whether you can get back into the same article depends on whether you have access to that database the article lives in. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, your list won't go away, but your access might, depending on which journal that article's from. Well, let me share with you a couple of resources that might come in handy for just kind of, like you say, thinking about what kind of question I want to ask, what do I want to research. So let's hop back over into the databases. I think actually I still have it open here. And you saw that little pop-up there. If you linger on the website, one of the library's web pages, long enough, usually 3 or 4 minutes, it'll come up and say, hey, can I help you? And that will, if you click on it, that goes right into the live chat. So that's what that is. I'm just gonna bring this up a little bigger. So there's a couple of resources that are really handy, and I'm gonna pop into one called ProCon, which you may have heard of before. And it was actually purchased by Britannica a few years back. And I find it really handy. It's actually a free resource that anybody can get into. We don't have the library subscription version, so you will see a few ads pop in there here and there. But this site gives you a lot of topics to kind of look into, all kinds of topics, government topics, health topics, social topics. And one of those may appeal to you. And I see they've got some new ones up top here. So AI, that's a hot topic right now. So when you click on one of these topics, then they give you a nice background to that topic, and then they start going through pros and cons and arguments either way. So pro arguments and con arguments about that topic. Now, the important thing to remember is this website is really well organized, and I see Britannica has infused some of their content in here a little bit more, so it's actually been fleshed out even more than it was in the past. And it has a lot of good information, but you have to do a little bit more work because this is not what you are reading here, and the arguments that they're giving you, pro and con, are not primary sources. They're not the sources that you want to cite. You don't want to cite this website. You see all these little footnotes here? Those are the sources that you need to go to. So you need to click on them if you want to take some of that content, those ideas from there. So this one, 78, this is a book. This is actually a very good book. I'd recommend anybody to read this one, The Shallows. Now, a book might take you a little bit longer to get a hold of. You might be able to get this from your public library because it is pretty popular. This next one, 79, looks like a web page. And so some of these will be more scholarly than others. And so you just have to look at these actual sources. So these are your sources. So if you want to support your argument, these are the sources that you need to go to. But this website really helps give you a jump start on all the angles about a topic. So pro-con can be very handy. Another one that is similar but does more of the work for you is called opposing viewpoints. And we'll go into that. This one is not a free resource. This one is as a subscription. But it is similar in that it has a list of all kinds of different topics. And I always just like to pull up, let's see, I like to pull up all the topics and just kind of browse through them. So let's see if they've got anything on artificial intelligence.
Excuse me.
Oh, somebody's paging me here. So let's see. I don't see that one listed under AI. So they may not have added that one yet. So we'll just take autism. How about that? So if you pick one of these, they are going to give you the actual articles. And you can see what types of articles. They have academic journal articles. So those are your peer-reviewed scholarly sources. There's graphics, infographics. There's news articles, viewpoints, magazine articles, primary sources, video statistics. So they break it down really nicely. You can just click on that and you can actually get the articles themselves. All of them are full text and available to get. So opposing viewpoints makes it really easy to get the resources. And then let's look at, we're getting close to the time here. And then Britannica itself, we do have access to that. We have a subscription and you can get any of the articles. They just came out with this really cool Britannica academic toolkits, and they're pretty handy and very well organized for higher ed students, which you guys are considered higher ed students in this class. So, for example, crafting an effective research question. If you go into that one, they give you an overview of the process, and then this guide walks you through it step by step. Here's how you do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and so on. They give you some tips and best practices while you're doing your research, some mistakes to look out for, and where do you go next after you've completed this. They're not very long, they're short, but they can be pretty helpful as you're going through mastering the note-taking process, source credibility, reliability, and bias, primary versus secondary sources, and so on.
So yeah, it's
So they're very handy. All right. So when are we quitting here?
We have till 9:10.
Oh, 9:10. Okay. Well, I can say a few more things then. When you click on our resources in the library, you're going to get something that looks like this to come up. And I emailed you, well, the system emailed you an invite link to create your own credentials with Open Athens. So this is considered an Open Athens account, which is separate from your PUC account. I've been told that your PUC account should work, but we've had problems in the past with authorization through the library. So I went ahead and created Open Athens accounts for everybody. And you should have gotten an email from Open Athens, which may or may not go into your spam box. So if you don't see it, it should have gone out yesterday evening. So look for that. And basically, you're just going to create your own password. Your account's already been set up with your email address. So you just create your password, and then anytime you see this web page come up because you're going in trying to retrieve something from the library, then use this bottom login here, PUC Library Community Login. And if you want to experiment with your actual PUC address credentials, you can try this one up here and let me know how it works. One other resource I want to mention that can be helpful, and I've got it listed here on the right side here. There's our new and trials. So there's our Britannica toolkits. News Bank, if you're looking for news articles, is an excellent resource for that. And then this one here, Semantic Scholar, can be very handy. And that's also a free resource, but it's so handy that I show it to people whenever I can. It was created by one of the co-founders of Microsoft, Paul Allen, and he's been doing AI research for decades. And so this is kind of an AI assisted database search engine. And let me go back. Let's see. I'm just going to pick, well, these are kind of interesting articles, but I don't know. Let's see. So when I find an article that I really like and I want to get like more like that article, a lot of times I'll just copy the title and then I'll jump over into Semantic Scholar and paste it in. And 9 times out of 10, it will come up now. So, okay, so it found this one. And you can click on it. And then it will list all the references from that article are listed right here. So if those are references in this article, they're probably related and might be useful.
Are you able to, if they're listed there, do we have access to those references?
So,
And could you do this with Wikipedia where you copy a Wikipedia page because Wikipedia has lots of sources?
yeah, and also the pro con footnotes. When you see a source there, you could, if it's not a web page, if it's an article, then you could paste that into Semantic Scholar, see if it comes up. So one of the nice things is a lot of these will give you the PDF. You can click a button right here that says has PDF, and it should show you the ones that you can actually just get right now. And if not, and you just see one that, man, that sounds really good, throw it back into the Discover search engine here and see if PUC has a subscription to it. If it doesn't come up, then that's where you say, help, librarian, help. I really want this article. We can get articles through other libraries pretty quickly, usually within a day. So don't be shy about that.
Okay, and then just out of curiosity, again, as they're going through this, because I'm seeing where is the EBSCO that they would be able to, if they see, oh, I want to save this article, because I think, again, this is one of the biggest problems that I have when students are doing their initial research is having a system right from the beginning where they're going to save those articles that they think they want.
Yeah, so this is not part of the EBSCO system. So if you're not finding it coming up inside of this Discover search engine, then yeah, you wouldn't be able to save it to your little collection of articles in EBSCO. So this is outside that system.
So do you have a suggestion for how they might save if it's not in EBSCO and they find an article, do you have a suggestion, or would you just copy and paste the title? Would you copy and paste? What would you be doing
Um,
as they're conducting their research this weekend?
well, I would definitely just start a document. I mean, even a Google Doc, you know, and save your citations. That's the biggest thing. If you have the citation, you can always find the article again.
Okay, that's helpful. Did all of you hear that?
Yeah.
So you're gonna start a Google Doc and you're just gonna put your citations there. Use EBSCO if it's available, but if it's not, I would do both. I would have EBSCO going and then I would also be just copying and pasting the
Yeah.
citation.
You never have too many backups.
Okay, we have a question here. No.
Okay.
Okay, we have one student who says, two students who did not get emails, three.
You put your actual
If you put-
email or your.
High Hills.
Noah's is Pine Hills.
It says
Yeah.
here, it doesn't say it's from PUC. It says
Oh, wait,
it's
never
from
mind.
Open
Open
Source.
Athens. It says it's from Open Athens.
It
And
should
would
say
go in
no
your,
reply. Yeah.
Right.
Right, I got it.
so check your phone
Also,
and it's saying from Open Athens. You're not seeing it, Noah.
like.
Yeah.
Should no
Yeah. And I see that you got your Pine Hills account activated in Open Athens. So you've seen what the email looks like.
Yeah, I have. I think my question's gonna be, so we'll have one student that here at the end, maybe the last couple minutes here, I can have you look to just verify that I got the spelling right, because maybe I spelled Noah's name wrong. That's my only thing I can think of when I entered it. And then the other question is, because it was my mess up, I didn't think about the Chromebooks that they have. And if I want them to be able to do research using their Chromebooks, is it possible for me to send you the names and email addresses of all the students with their PHA online email and then just have you reactivate, or is that a problem?
Yeah, no, I can create an account with a different password, no problem.
Okay, so then I think we'll do that. And I'll just go through, or even if you want to look at their names that are there, anybody who did not have a PHA, it's always first name dot last name at PHA online.
Yeah, yeah. That's
So
what-
if you want me to go through, is it easiest if I go through and then you just copy and paste, or what's easiest for you?
So first, last name. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I've got a handful that had Gmail accounts.
Yeah,
So I can just redo those with Pine Hills emails.
okay, that would be great. And then Noah, can you give him the spelling for your name just to be sure?
Right now.
Yeah, you want to do it right now? Are you ready? Patrick? It's Noah Sanders that he's not seeing, he said, and it's go ahead,
NOAH
NOAH.
dot SANDERS at PHAonline.com.
Yeah, I remember the name.
Look at this.
There it is. Okay, Noah Sanders. So I have Noah dot Sanders Oh, it just took me out there. Okay. Okay, Noah. Noah.Sanders@PHA online. I basically just copied and pasted, but
Yeah, that's what I figured.
so 2 A's, PHAA, Adventist Academy.
Yes.
Okay, online. It should have gone through Noah.Sanders, yeah. But let me, see if I can resend it.
Last season.
You're the.
Yeah. No, I can't, I don't know. There's nothing, and I'm not seeing anything that looks like it in his, and this isn't shared with you. You actually went to your email.
This is my school.
This is your email.
This
So
is my
yeah,
school.
this is your school email. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything from him.
Okay, well, I think there's a way to resend it. I'll either remove it and re-add it in.
Okay.
Or resend it.
Okay, that would be good.
We'll work on that.
Okay. All right. Well, I think, is there anything else that's super important for them to know, or you think at this point, I mean, I feel like at this point, they're pretty close to knowing or
Mhm.
having what they need.
Yeah, there's a lot here, but don't let it intimidate you too much. Just take a piece at a time and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Okay, well, we appreciate your help here, and this is a good starting point. And at this point, if they have any more questions, we'll reach out to you, or obviously through the chat box, they'll be reaching out to you. But thank you for all your time.
You are very welcome.
All right, have a great day.
Go forth and research.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.